Why are you wearing a stolen JetBlue jacket?
What airline do you fly?
Virgin, JetBlue.
Why?
I know I will get there safely and on time.
American Airlines doesn't get there?
Not in 30-year-old planes. I don't trust
Does
them.
Delta get there?
I don't understand the concept of always having the transfer in Atlanta.
Pan Am, best airline in the world ever, always got there, right?
Yeah.
Out of business.
Yeah.
Is Mercedes the new Pan Am?
Oof.
Yeah. This week on the Road Testament. Aliens have landed, Independence Day style, and they've won. And they're going to preserve a couple of car manufacturers because of their uniqueness. And they want to know what to preserve. They've captured you, J.F. Musial. Mercedes.
Yes.
What is it?
It is the pinnacle of luxury car making.
So maybe they should preserve it, but I also want to know Lexus.
Okay, Lexus is a reliable luxury brand.
Audi?
First things that come to mind are diesel, Quattro. Good things, yeah.
Luxury?
Okay, luxury brand as well.
I don't know. BMW?
Driving performance. You get in a car, you get in any car blindfolded and you drive it, not that you should, and you can feel the difference that it is a BMW if it's a BMW.
Luxury?
Yes, luxury brand.
Porsche?
Okay, luxury brand, performance car. I get your theme here. Yes, these are luxury brands, but Mercedes is where it started. Mercedes.
So what
think of the 6.9. You can't go.
That's a Mercedes.
That is the Mercedes.
What makes?
What about the the original Gullwing?
All right, so you're saying
that is a Mercedes.
That's a Mercedes.
Yes.
Does Mercedes still make cars today?
No.
No.
Not the way they used to.
They do make a couple though.
They do make several cars. There is model bloat, as we have mentioned several times with BMW, but Mercedes. Yes, they have lost their way, but
name a Mercedes that is manufactured today. Can you name? They make cars.
Yes, they make many cars.
They make any Mercedes?
They don't make them the way they used to. I agree with that.
I can name one.
The SL. The SL is always better than the outgoing generation. I agree with that.
Why? What do you mean?
Well, the SL has, we have to talk about model designation. The SL started a class.
So
the S class started a class.
So what is a Mercedes? The answer is these are cars that have permanence of build quality.
They're built the best. They drive not performance-like, but they are luxury-like.
And they look like a Mercedes.
They look like a Mercedes.
Okay.
They have that presence.
So last week we took BMW to task about, basically, is there any new one you'd rather own than an old one? And most people, overwhelmingly, people said, instead of insulting me for interrupting, they said they wanted old BMWs. Mercedes is different because there's hardly any old Mercedes you want over a new one, except a 6.9, except the Gullwing. Because today, they in fact do make newer versions of those cars that are better.
The new C-Class. C-Class is what the old E-Class
Well, I was going to say AMG and the SLS.
Yeah.
So today, what do they make that's a Mercedes? SL? Some of the AMG, every AMG car is really a descendant of that 6.9, and they make the SLS. Is there any other car Mercedes makes that is a Mercedes?
You're right. They've created, they've had a lot of answers to other manufacturers throughout their model portfolio.
Well, in fact, they gave up the one thing that made them, which was every car was built like a bank. In fact, the first S-Class was referred to as a bank, and you had to work at a bank to have one. And that's not the case anymore. Let's go through the model lineup.
Well,
let's talk about.
I want to talk a little bit about that because you do have a point. Back, 10, 15 years ago, Mercedes were over-engineered. They were far exceeding what they needed to be, but that made them stand out as a car company.
You have to go back to 25 years for that to be true.
You threw a Mercedes a 6.9 door closed. It felt solid.
A vault closing.
Yes. You know, they came to realize in order to increase their margins, well, we don't need to make them that good. They can still be good, but not that good.
How many of their doors sound like that today?
They close great, but they're not that. They're not that old, solid vault feel.
You know why? It's because they put latches in to sound like that rather than building a door that actually feels like that. Let's be really clear about this. The A-Class, Mercedes, C?
C-Class is very good. I would take a new C-Class over any of the old C-Classes.
E?
I don't like the new E-Class by far.
S?
S-Class has always been the flagship of all German cars.
And yet it's not as reliable or any more reliable than anyone else's car, is it?
Not anymore, but it started the trend. It started the flagship.
GL? R?
That.
SLK?
Yeah, I know. You can.
E-Coupe?
Okay.
Smart car? So what is the future of Mercedes?
I don't know.
Is to pick any segment that they are in, because they're in almost every segment, and make the bank of that segment.
Okay.
The R-Class is unique. It's the least loved of all Mercedes today. Nobody even talks about it. It's a unique car. 2 years ago, Ford. What did you think about Ford?
I've always loved Ford.
Auto bailout, American, a couple of cool cars.
I've always loved Ford, but they have come a long way in the past 2 years, thanks to Ellen Mulally.
2 years. Yeah. Today, Ford reliability, very good, fastest improving, great model lineup.
Yep.
The only American brand, other than Cadillac, that I'm like, I could own one of those.
Yep.
Mercedes has everything Ford does not. They have money, incredible technology across the board, global brand awareness, a history of being the best, well, of being Mercedes.
So then what do they do now to make them what they used to be?
See, I said BMW should reduce how many models they make.
Yeah.
Mercedes could keep everything they have. They are too big to start chopping things. They're too broad. All they have to do, I literally think they could increase prices 5% across the board, restore Mercedes-ness, that bank reliability to everything they make.
Yeah.
They already have common switchgear, common parts across so many models. It would be cheaper and easier for them just to say the next 18 months are the reliability months for us. And I mean, in 1 year, Consumer Reports will publish the next auto issue. Imagine if Mercedes is the German manufacturer that comes back like Ford does. Would you buy a BMW?
I agree with you, but there's something that you're not counting for. It will take a very long time for those improvements to trickle down into the mindsets of everyone that buys cars.
I disagree, and here's why. The majority of Mercedes buyers buy Mercedes because they think that reliability is there now, even though it isn't.
Okay.
The trickle down that you're referring to is pertinent only to the buyers who are aspirational but on the fence. And those are people who then migrate to Lexus, or maybe Infiniti, or maybe Audi, who's taking the cake from everybody else because the reliability is there.
So you're saying build the cars better, they'll come back.
Yeah, and Mercedes is literally, they could do this so quickly, but someone has, it's a question of will.
True. Okay, well, that's about it for today.
You know who has willpower?
Who?
Next week's topic, Porsche. Willpower on wheels.
Porsche,
That's the Porsche brand. Next week on the Road Test.